big treat for you. This guy is truly deep-rooted in the love for traditional country. He is also a real live cowboy. He lives the cowboy lifestyle and doesn't wear the hat just for looks. He truly embodies what real country music is about, and I love, love, love that about him. I am so proud to welcome to the Kickin Country Roadshow, Mr. Zach Top. Zach, how you doing, my friend?
Just wonderful. Thank you, Shannon, for that glowing introduction. Easy on the cowboy thing. If any cowboys hear this and come try and test me, they're going to find out the truth, you know. But, no, I appreciate that, man. It's very kind of you.
So, Chris Ledoux, stay away.
That's right. That's right. Nobody like that. I ain't that kind of cowboy. I spent a couple minutes in the saddle behind the back of a cow, but I would not call myself a cowboy. Just enough to be able to wear the hat without being embarrassed.
There you go. There you go. At least it's not about the hat matching the jeans, right?
That's right. That's right.
All right, cool, man. So here's what amazed me when I was reading your bio. I am amazed at where you're from. I mean, I got to tell you, I could have sworn I would have thought Texas, Oklahoma, Montana, Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's usually what I get.
I'm going to let you tell the listeners, where are you from, Zach?
Oh, the sprawling metropolis of Sunnyside, Washington, where they make all the good country music, didn't you know?
Washington State? Wow.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy, man. That is crazy. I'd never imagine that. Never, ever imagine that for sure. So
yeah, that's not usually people's first guess.
So how did you even get into country music? I mean, being from Washington State, I mean, you're out there. This obviously not the country metropolis, right? So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, I grew up in a real small little town outside of town, dairy farm town. Grew up on a farm. My dad worked in a livestock business all of my life, and still does. And so we grew up kind of, I like to say playing cowboy a little bit. We had a little hobby farm and some animals, some critters around there that we were able to grow up with and take care of a little bit. And then we got exposed to, doing some actual serious work on the back of a horse just because my dad was partners in a big old ranch and he runs a sale barn and all this kind of thing. So going along with that music, with that lifestyle, country music was a natural fit. My folks loved George Strait, listened to a ton of George Strait around the house growing up. And another one I remember real early on was Marty Robbins. My dad had a cassette tape of Marty Robbins, that Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs.
Oh, man, good one.
Tape in his old pickup. That's the only tape I ever remember being in there. I may be wrong, but I think that's the only one he ever had in there. Maybe, I guess if they ever made a better one, he'd swap it out, but he ain't heard a better one. So, so I just, as long as I can remember, grew up hearing a ton of country music and loved it ever since I heard it. So that was, I thought George Strait looked pretty cool in a cowboy hat and a guitar, and I wasn't no good at being a cowboy, so I figured I ought to try that.
Well, you're doing a great job of it, that's for sure, man. And here's the thing, my midday girl assistant program director, Rachel, would be so upset that she's not on this call today because she also lives on a livestock farm.
There you go.
Yep, and so she raises Black Angus.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's what we raised growing up as well.
How cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome, man. So obviously, man, you are bringing back 90s country. And I mean, the first time I heard you, I was like, oh my gosh, man, this is what country music has needed for so long again. And what's crazy is people are starting to do this, right? You got your Randall King, right? You got some other people who are starting to bring this sound back. You got Post Malone, believe it or not, redoing Joe Diffie, right? And so, I mean, man, this stuff's coming back, and it's coming back with a vengeance. I mean, I just did an interview recently with Brian White. Remember Brian?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Brian, by the way, Brian told me to tell you that you are his idol. Okay? That was exactly what he told me to tell you.
That's awful kind coming from him. He's a talented dude.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. But he told me, he said, when you talk to Zach, he said, tell him, I said, that dude is my idol because he is absolutely phenomenal. And so that's a big compliment coming from Brian White. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Big compliment.
I appreciate
big compliment.
That.
So, I mean, you're bringing back this 90s sound, and I got to tell you, man, I grew up on 90s country, right? I mean, that's literally what I grew up on was 80s and 90s country. And, I mean, I have, I was on, I was on the radio announcing these guys when they were coming out in the '90s. That's the scary part, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, that's great, man. I
So,
love it.
so tell me a little bit about how you got into this '90s feel, this '90s sound that you've got. I mean, because man, like we're even spinning "Use Me Now," and I love that
Yeah.
song, man. That is like
Oh, thank you.
that's like just a good old tear jerker to me. I love it.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. I always get thrown, in the '90s box kind of, and it's funny to me because there was never an intentional decision to like, hey, I think what would work right now would be sort of a '90s sound. That's just who I am. It's so for me, it's today. That was a lot of that music was what influenced me growing up. That's what I listened to, and not just that. When I heard George Strait or Alan Jackson or something real early on, I loved their music. And then when I started, I've been playing and singing since I was 5. So I don't know. I think I remember around 9 or 10 years old, I started to really pay attention and dig into that type of music. And so I started going back to, what were these guys listening to that got them in this spot? Like, I want to go straight to the source wherever they're getting stuff from. So that, I got into a bunch of older stuff too, Haggard and Jones and Ray Price or Lefty Frizzell or stuff like that. And just tried to be a student of the music. And, through all of that, listening and just figuring out what I loved, the sound that you hear on these records today now is that's what came out of me, and that's all I know how to do. So it's not like, well, I could do a Morgan Wallen thing, but I think this '90s thing is going to work. That's just who I am, and that's today for me. And it's kind of fun to be able to. It's almost like I get to be a little bit of a pioneer again in a way, because, like you said, folks like you grew up on that stuff and are familiar with it, and then there's a whole generation of people coming up right now that's a brand new sound for them. They ain't never heard that before. And I think country music has always been cool like that, where it kind of comes around in cycles. It's happened forever in the genre. It always gets, out there to where it feels a little poppy or something. Back in the 80s, you had Kenny Rogers and Juice Newton and, stuff like that real popular on the radio. And then all of a sudden, George Strait and Randy Travis come around, and it's like, oh my goodness, country music is saved again. It just always seems to come in cycles, and it's I feel real fortunate to be kind of in the right place at the right time, it feels like, but just coming on the front end of this cycle, coming back and getting to introduce the music that I love, that style of country music, what I would call real country music, to a whole new generation of people, and have older folks, middle-aged folks get to enjoy kind of a revival of that sound that they grew up on and loved earlier on. So
I was getting ready to say, you're about to call me old, ain't you?
No.
No,
But
it's
it
cool.
is fun, it's fun having, we just get everybody from 8 years old to 80 out at our shows, because it's something there for everybody. It's like, it's hip, it's new, so young kids are into it. But then you got their, whoever it is, 45 to 75-year-old, parents and grandparents and stuff that come out, because it's like, oh my God, you remind me of Alan Jackson too. And so it's fun to, I love having that wide of a range of crowd out there. It's fun to kind of span a couple generations for them.
So we're not going to see you getting up on stage doing the Texas Hold'em dance, right?
I doubt it. That's not my thing.
between me and you, I'm the program director here, and I can't bring myself to add that one. I'm sorry, I just can't do it.
Well, thank you. No, you're doing the Lord's work. Thank you. It ain't country.
No, it's not.
It
I agree.
take a slot on country radio. There's people like me that's giving their life to country music, and we're trying hard to get a slot on there. And stuff like that just shouldn't get to waltz in just because somebody's already famous and get to have a slot on the radio. So we appreciate
Exactly.
you. Or I do anyway. I know there's others
Exactly.
that do
Well,
as
I mean, man, you're already, I mean, you're what, 26 years old, right? 26 years old, which
Yes, sir.
amazes me, by the way, that you, that you embrace this 90s sound like you do at your age. I love that. I mean, I hope more people follow in your footsteps, because I got to tell you, this sound coming back just makes it makes my heart feel good. You know what I mean? It just really
I
does.
Appreciate that.
And,
yes, sir. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. So I'm glad that, glad that you're not a huge that style of music fan. I didn't figure you would be. So
no, sir.
All right, so
I think there's room for all of it. I won't knock any of it. I just should take a slot on country radio.
Exactly. I mean, here's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're already in the top 40. Right, you're already in the top 40, and that's incredible, man. I mean, and you know what that tells me? That tells me that there is a spot here for that style of music. I mean, like I said, you look at your Post Malone, who's coming back, which I know he's a top 40 artist. I get that, but he's doing country, right? He's actually doing country, and he's doing Joe Diffie stuff, and then you've got you've got people like Randall King and Ryan Larkins, right, and all these guys, you know, that are kind of bringing up that whole new sound of 90s country. And I think it's the next big thing for country again, because things go in cycles, right?
Yep, it feels that way, man. I think people have been hungry for it for a long time, and now it's finally getting to poke its head out and gain some traction again. So it's an exciting time to be doing it.
Definitely. All right, so I got to ask you, beer by the pool, lake, or beach kind of guy?
Pool, lake, or beach? Let's go lake for sure.
Lake, nice. You fish?
I do fish a little bit, and I love. My family has taken a vacation up in Sandpoint, Idaho, every year for the last few years, and we get to spend 5, 6, 7 days playing around on a boat, doing some water skiing. I love slalom skiing, and we fish, and we just float around, and have some drinks, and play volleyball on the beach and stuff like that. And it's a mountain lake up there, and it's just beautiful in the summer. And that's kind of my favorite place to be, I think, out of anywhere I ever am. So,
man, that is cool. Guy. And here's the thing, our midday girl, Rachel, that I was telling you about earlier, she's in Salmon, Idaho. So I'm sure she's going to want you to stop by and say hi.
Oh, no kidding. Heck yeah. Do you know, where about in Idaho is Salmon? I don't recognize that town name.
I believe
it's small, because most Idaho towns are very small.
I believe it's south toward Utah. I've never been out there, actually, but I believe it's south toward Utah, to be totally honest with you.
I got you. We're way up north in the little skinny part, so it may be a little trek, but I'll try and go see her.
She would love that for sure. That's for sure. And of course, I got to meet you, at CRS, and
yes, sir.
That's why I was blown away when I saw you, because I had never actually seen a picture of you. I'd always just played your music, but I'd never seen a picture. And then I looked over, and I was like, wait a minute, this dude's young.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So it was kind of a shocker for me, that's for sure.
Yeah, man, that is funny.
Old soul, traditional, real country music, though, and what I think honestly needs to be traditional country. So there's a couple of things here I want to hit on before we wrap things up. I want to be respectful of your time, obviously, but man, you've had some big statements from some huge artists, in my opinion. Jake Owen, Parker McCullum, Luke Combs, even Lainey freaking Wilson, right?
Yep.
I mean, wow. And the cat's out of the bag on that one too, right?
Yes, sir. It sure is.
You want to tell them what's going on there?
Yeah, we're going out on tour with old Lainey. I think you may have heard of her. If she keeps at it, she's really going to be something someday. And I'm just fooling. She's the hottest thing in country music right now, it seems like. And I feel very fortunate that we get to be mutual fans of each other's art, and that she wanted me to come out and do this tour. I think it's going to be a great fit, and I hope we get to adopt a lot of her fans as well. And I think it's just going to be a great tour to be on.
Yeah, I'm really excited for you for sure. And here's the thing, since you and I know each other now, you got to do a little introduction. Say, hey, let me introduce you to this really cool DJ down in North Carolina.
Oh, no doubt. We'll make it happen.
That would be awesome, dude. I would literally probably pass out if I got an interview with Lainey. I think that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah, man. I know Lainey does too. We love having our friends at radio out, and we'll make it happen. We'd love to see you out there.
Dude, that would be awesome.
I think we're playing, what are we playing, Raleigh out there?
Yeah, I think you're playing Raleigh. I want to play Charlotte. I think you're playing Charlotte too, right? Aren't you? Or maybe just Raleigh.
Maybe so. I can't remember where I'm going to be at tomorrow. So that's hard for me that far out. But yeah, I know it's one of the two. or maybe both. I can't remember,
Cool,
but
cool.
I hope it's both. I love them both.
Yeah, that would be awesome for sure.
Yes,
So
sir.
what's on the next agenda for Zach going forward?
Oh, right now, just burning up the road, trying to find a couple minutes every now and then that I can get a little sleep. And just taking this album out and touring it all year. I'm so excited about all these songs that we just released, and can't wait for everybody to hear them. And I them just as much as I am. And yeah, I don't know. I guess trying to save country music.
I love it. Save country music. I love it. I love it. I love it. That is awesome, right?
You ever hear that Daryl Singletary song? It may be too late for the world, but can't we still save country music?
I
I
know,
love that
right? I know.
thing.
I love Daryl Singletary too, man. That dude was
Oh
awesome. He
gosh,
was kind of
yeah.
underrated, but I loved him.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
just
Man, one of the
incredible.
best singers since guys like Haggard and Jones. And it's funny. I have a little connection with him just a little bit. I feel like I never met him or nothing, but when the day he passed away, I put up a video of his song "Spilled Whiskey," just me
Mm,
covering it, me and a guitar.
hmm
Put that thing on Facebook, and that's pretty much the reason I made it to Nashville. I had been putting little things like that up on Facebook, just random songs I wanted to cover, songs I loved, and I'd get 2 or 3 thousand views on a video or something. And for whatever reason, that thing caught fire and blew up to like 300,000 views in a matter of a couple of weeks. And
Man,
my producer found for that, Carson Chamberlain. He reached out via email and wanted to talk about working together. And that was the first like legitimate guy that had a great resume, that wanted to work with me, that made me feel like it's like, all right, maybe this ain't a pipe dream. Then if this guy wants to work with me, maybe I've got something here. So I've always got a soft spot for Daryl, not just because of his talent, but kind of that too. One of his songs, helped pave the way for me to make it to Nashville and make it to where I'm at today.
man, that is so cool and such a cool story.
Yeah.
So I got your next song that you need to redo if you can get permission
Okay.
to do it. Doug
Come on.
Supernall Reno.
Oh, I love that. The ladies a lot like Reno.
There it
I love
is, man.
that
It's the
song.
next hit. It's the next hit. Come on, and
There
you
you
got to
go.
say, "Hey, this little dude named Shannon Steele in Kickin
That's right.
Country in North Carolina gave me this idea for this song."
I love it. I
I,
love it.
I love it, man. I love it. So your social media, I'm assuming that's the best way for people to get in touch with you, right?
Generally, yeah. If you ain't got my phone number, I don't want you to have it. But that's the best. That's the best way to get in touch with me. But yeah, no, my team does a good job of they keep an eye on all the socials and stuff, and we try to stay interactive with everybody and keep everybody entertained on there.
Yeah. Well, I won't tell everybody that I've got your phone number. How's that?
Perfect.
Zach, man, thank
If
you
I
so
start
much.
getting all kinds of calls I don't recognize, I'll know who done it.
I've sold your number. That's what I've done. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Oh,
I love it. I
gosh,
love it.
that's funny.
Well, Zach, man, thank you so much. I really, really do appreciate your time today, man. This has been
Certainly.
absolutely incredible. And man, I mean, it's the sky is the limit for you now, especially going out with
Thank
Lainey.
you,
I mean,
Shannon.
this is just going to be incredible.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for taking the time and having me on. I enjoyed it, and we'll look forward to seeing you when we make our stops in North Carolina.